Well, hello everyone. We are officially hanging out in live. It's been a little while. Yo, tell me how upset I am about this. Like, if I wear this forward, it goes away. I can't even correctly represent Team Encounter.
Yeah. Well, you should just get a green hat, and then people can put whatever they want on it.
That's true. True. I forgot. I wanted to
finally.
specifically for you.
Yeah, finally.
The only reason I can be sponsored by other stores is because of Dick Burns. So
that's true.
There was some cyberbullying going on today, and because of it, I just want to let everyone know that I'm the biggest fan of Katie from the Lore Keepers Inn. That's all I gotta say. She's the best.
I was wondering what was up with this. I just noticed it, and I was thinking, what are you lying for?
I'm not lying. She's the best.
I'm just kidding. Although she did say she wanted beef, so
she wanted beef.
Yeah.
That's true. So she got some today.
Oh, okay.
But I'm Team Katie.
I haven't been on the internet today. So the kids got Minecraft.
Yeah.
They can't figure out how to play Minecraft though, so I'm their puppet.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what's happening. They're like, Dad, run over there and kill that pig. Okay. Now run over there and almost drown, but then save yourself. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not very fun.
That sounds like not the way that I would play Minecraft.
No, but they're 5 and 7, so they don't understand anything.
It's true. So how was the holiday?
It was terrible. It was the worst one yet.
Just because of reasons?
Just from being poor right now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Liz
Liz
was stressed out.
Miserable.
It was so bad. The girls are too smart. For one thing. For two,
okay.
We had to cancel Christmas for all of the adults, which is fine. Forget the adults.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
they don't need Christmas anyway. But
I'm the same way.
Yeah, which I'm pleased to not get anything because I have a hard time lying. So when people give me stuff, listen, I'm an adult. If I want something, I just buy it. Yeah. I don't even know what day it is. I don't care if it's post Christmas.
I'm the same way. People always ask, "What do you want for Christmas?" I'm like, nothing.
Yeah.
I don't need anything.
Sign up for Medify. That's what.
Hey mom, just do me a favor. I'm gonna send you this link. Just click yes. All right.
Buy me some of my own merch. Right? I'm tired of shelling out $150 when I pay a per letter.
Oh, that's funny. I can't lie. My mom and my sister have each purchased things from the merch shop, so I can give them that much credit.
Okay.
And my mother-in-law too. So there you go. So I can't hate on them too much. But yeah, no, I'm the same way. Christmas is weird. This year was another one of those years where, honestly, for probably since I had kids, me and Kylie do not buy gifts for one another. I think like once in 10 years, Kylie and I bought gifts for one another on Christmas. But most of the time we do not. We normally will just agree on buying like something for the house or some crap like that. So
yeah, me and Liz, like sometimes she buys things with my own money for me.
Sure.
That I don't even want, but which is such a weird position to be in. But yeah, like, since we bought the house, we're on a no spending spree, I guess you'd say it. If it's not making us money or feeding the family, we're not buying it.
Man, how do I get Kylie on that?
No comment. But like, we didn't even get candy canes. Yeah. Like Santa, we were on the bare minimum. So
Santa did decorate our tree in candy canes. That happened. So
yeah. No, the girls were confused why, and I was like, I told them not to.
Touche. He listened. Anyone that's hanging out in chat, if you got anything cool for Christmas, feel free. Let us know. We're starting easy. We're gonna have some fun tonight, though. So Dick, there's this new thing going on in the Lorcana community, completely anonymous, like all polls should be. It is the Lorcana Players Poll, and this is the second edition of the poll. It's been running every few months or every few weeks. I think it's every other week that they're running these, and it's voted on members of the community. It says 25 voters here. I think the last one was more than that, but I'm not sure.
It's already falling off.
I mean, it's the holidays, right? You know, it's not shocking. Holidays. This was like an in-between week where I think the first poll happened right after European Continentals. So this poll went out like on a week that there was nothing really going on. But yeah, so I'll ask you as a competitive player in Lorcana, would you agree with these rankings?
What is this? The best color combination? I haven't even read this. I don't follow Lorcana player poll. Okay, I'm not good enough to be involved. I don't follow it.
It's anonymous, Dick. You can't say if you're involved or not.
Well, guess what? I'm the worst player on TFM, so they didn't ask me. Melissa's probably on it.
So okay. This is just like
funny.
a breakdown of ink combinations of the best 10 ink combinations. It's not specific to an archetype within the ink combination.
Yeah, it's funny because it looks terrible. Okay. And then I thought 1 through 5 was on the left side.
No.
It's not. Yeah, it zigzags.
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway. No, I can't see this. I would say Ruby Sapphire is probably still the best deck. People just metagame for it so much.
Sure.
Like it only got better with Sail the Azurite Sea. Other than that, yeah, it's probably, if I voted, Ruby Sapphire, Ruby Amethyst, Amber Steel, Amethyst Steel, and then Amethyst Emerald. And then everything else can suck it.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. I definitely also agree. I think the biggest injustice on this list is that Amethyst Steel is 5th. I strictly disagree with Amethyst Emerald, even in top 5, if I'm being honest. I think that deck is not as good as people say it is. But hey, that's just me. One person, you know. But yeah, so Lorcana poll, there's trying a new thing. I'm not a big college football fan or like college sport fan in general, but I think the idea is like similar to like college game day polls and things like that. At least that's what I think it is. But I think it's cool. I think it's interesting to get, you know, whoever these anonymous voters are together in a room to chat about these things, just to see it, give out the information. Obviously, this is more close to opinion than fact, you know, because obviously the facts could show differences. Now, obviously, I think a couple weeks ago, Ruby Amethyst was number 1. It won the U Continentals. I think Amber Steel's number 1 in this one. It won the CCS 10K. So, like, there's obviously trends there, but still interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be what have you done for me lately, combined with, I don't think we could ever actually know what the best deck is, obviously. Like, it's just so skewed from tournament to tournament. The person that wins is not necessarily the best player, so they didn't necessarily have the best deck. Stuff like that. Like, Daniel Negreanu was actually just talking about this. He asked AI who the best poker player was, and it had, like, a conniption.
Was the answer Phil Hellmuth?
No, it was.
That was what I get. I guess the AI would say that. So
yeah, I think it was the largest. It was the person who made the most money ever in tournaments. So
not Phil Hellmuth.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know off the top of my head.
Series bracelets, so that's why my guess is like it would just say
yeah. That includes like playing Badoogie and stuff like.
I don't know that word is, but sure.
Yeah, I mean, like you can win a $500,000 entry tournament, and win more money than someone with 5 bracelets.
Okay,
is the thing.
Okay, I got to give it a shout out to here. Folks are sleeping. They're sleeping.
It's true. It's so versatile.
So good. So many different ways. Also, I gotta give a shout out here. They need Melissa to do their socials to make their things look good. He's giving Melissa a lot of credit right now.
You're so mean. I don't know what you're talking about. Right behind Kylie is Melissa as being the heart and soul of TFM.
We'll give it a lot of credit there. Green, I gotta listen. We can have a conversation. What is green yellow doing that it deserves to be in the top 10? I mean, don't get me wrong. I can make an argument for like anything in the 9 or 10 spot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, once you have what's obviously Mufasa on the list, yeah,
aggro. It's not even the best aggro deck. Aggro deck.
I'm wondering where Amber Emerald is. Like, wasn't it like the de facto like most broken deck going into Toronto? It was like the worst kept secret of all time. And then Emerald Steel came out, and all of a sudden they were like, "Oh, it's unplayable because Emerald Steel loses to it." Well, Emerald Steel is nowhere to be found now. So why isn't it just back? I don't know.
I still think it's reliant on Diablo's draw power. And I think
but
that's the problem with Emerald Steel as well. Is both those decks are reliant on Diablo's draw, and no longer it's just not as easy to keep it safe.
I do think Amber has an easier time keeping it safe because it still has like Under the Sea and stuff like that. Like Under the Sea just hits Genie on its own.
Hits Genie and Elsa, yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I'm not a Diablo player. I'm all about me and my opponent having a good time, not just me. But
that's fair. Yeah, I don't know. It's been a weird couple weeks. There's a lot of like conflicting trends, I would say, which is interesting too, because there's been a fair amount of large tournaments. You know, I think we're about 6 weeks in now, and there's been a fair amount of large tournaments that you can go and look at the data for. And they're all kind of different events, which is, I would say, very different than normal in like over the course of this year. But, you know, there's events where Ruby Sapphire and Emerald Amethyst are the most played decks. And then there's events that Amber Steel and Ruby Amethyst are the most played decks. So, like, there's just been a lot of all of those things going on, which is leading to like these really different results. But it's been interesting. I mean, I can say that Azurite Sea definitely feels like the most versatile metagame, I think, to date. I think it's probably more versatile than even Into the Inklands metagame was. Definitely before Shimmering Skies. Pretty much Shimmering Skies and Ursa's Return were like really small, I would say, in versatility. But, you know, I think Azurite Sea is doing a pretty good job of like giving us a lot of different options.
Yeah, which is great for the game. Not so good for me. When I met Steve in Las Vegas at like a meet and greet session I had, you know, I told him I hate how well they designed the game. I want to come in with like there's 3 decks total. Like I'm tired of stressing out before tournaments.
Yeah, which is really funny because I think in December, I've had more coaching sessions in December than like any month previous, like to the number of like actual sessions in the month. And a lot of the conversation is really about like, what deck should I play? And in my humble opinion, it's like, you should probably just play the deck you like the most and not even give a shit about the predicted metagame, because all these decks are good. Like there's not any debate that are on like this particular list that has, you know, like 10 decks on it. You know, we can argue that 6 of them or 7 of them are like at least playable decks in Lorcana. And on any given day, it wouldn't shock me if they ended up in a top 8 of a large event. So like when you have that much choice, it almost doesn't matter what the meta is predicting. It just matters if you're good with the deck that you like and you understand the matchups, period. Like, and I think that's like one of the big takeaways too, is the fact that there are 6, 7, 8 decks here that you're like, wow, man, those decks are all really good. Like that's crazy. It really is. But in some ways, I think it's good for the game because it does mean that you kind of can do whatever you want. You know, like you like the idea, and no, I do too, I like saying like, okay, here's the big bad deck, and then you can either play the big bad deck really well, or you can be like, I'm just gonna make a deck that beats the big bad deck. And I do like that as a competitive player, but I also hate feeling forced to play something.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
just like rules.
Yeah.
It's like we were having this conversation with Scott about designing cards, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Now you need certain parameters, otherwise you're just gonna have like analysis paralysis, and you're gonna be just chasing your tail. Like, all right, I got 12 decks to choose from. This one beats this one, and it's gonna just keep going around, and you're gonna end up metagaming yourself right out of the tournament when you're like a worrier like me." Yeah, I just think it's way easier for someone like myself to be like, yeah, there's these 3 decks. This one's the best. This one beats the best. I'm better than X people. I should just play this one so far. Stuff like that. I also think the reason we're seeing so many different decks in top 8s right now is because people are just playing their favorite decks.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like keeping their cards close to their chests because they have LCQs. They have what's it called, continentals. I also think people put way too much weight into the EU continental breakdown. Like when you're in such an inbred event like that, where you basically know everyone that's coming, and if you're already qualified, you should probably have some sort of like sheet of everyone that's coming and what they usually play, stuff like that. It's kind of like when they have like Survivor All-Stars. You'll watch interviews after the fact, and the people that were in like the top 5 are like, yeah, we all had an alliance going into it. Like you're only going to have so many different testing groups going into the event.
Yeah.
So
it's true.
Yeah, I mean, I think people are just having a good time right now since there's no DLCs, which is a good thing and a bad thing.
I'm not going to highlight that comment, but no.
What?
That's a good one.
Someone commented.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's weird too, because obviously the data from that was so heavy Ruby Sapphire, and then coming out of that event, it's been dipping like further and further away. And even in like CCS as an example, that 10K in that final round, there was a ton of Ruby decks in the top tables, and I think only one made top 8, if I remember correctly. So there's a lot of that going around too, of like, okay, these are like the most played decks, but they're not converting to top finishes too. So there's a lot of that conversation too. It's like, all right, they're good enough to put you in contention, but if other decks are being successful, that's kind of what you got to look at. I do want to say that this one, this might be a good idea for the LP poll, honestly. Like, it is cool to see the ranking, but I will agree that without a doubt, there's arguably 3 different Amber Steel decks. There's arguably, 2 different Ruby Sapphire, 2 different Ruby Amethyst, 2 or 3 different Amethyst Steel. Like, all these decks have so many different versions that I think if you wanted to be a little bit more clear, that the more information that we would have to vote on would be the better, because it would be interesting. Like, man, maybe Amber Steel as a whole as the combination might be rank 1, but
but maybe Ruby Sapphire was actually rank 1, because there's also 2. There's the aggro and the control Amethyst Ruby. Right. There's only really 1 Ruby Sapphire deck. Right.
So I think that's a fair assessment. And listen, this is something that's only been around for a couple weeks. It might grow, it might evolve. Let's see how it. But I think that's good feedback. So thank you, AJ. I think stuff like that, for them to see and read. Obviously, if you're not following them yet, it's at Lorcana Poll on Twitter. I'm not sure if they have Instagram or Facebook. I don't know. I only see them on Twitter. I should probably know that, but I don't. So with that, going into 2025 here coming up, I wanted to do a little bit of a reflection on 2024 and have some fun. And in the chat, you can have some fun too. What was your favorite event that you attended this year?
Ooh. Just so I've said this before, he doesn't tell me anything. Even Liz, my
Listen.
wife. She's like, "What are you guys talking about?" I'm like, "I don't know." And I'm like, "Wait, it's a live stream. Give the kids some melatonin." Oh my god, they'll be running through here at all hours.
Melatonin. Nice.
Favorite event? It's
So like coming from us.
it's probably Atlanta.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, like
Mainly, which one?
Oh no, it's probably DLC Atlanta.
Yeah.
Like coming back after the event at like midnight because 12:30 because the Lime scooters gave out at midnight, so I had to walk a half hour. But yeah, just staying up all night, keeping everyone awake all night was probably the most fun that I had. Yeah, I don't know.
Atlanta was good. Atlanta was fun. I have like mixed feelings. So like my favorite event to play in was Dallas. Because it was the only event that all year I was 100% sure that we played the best deck in the room. And for me, it almost translated to a day 2. I finished 71st. But I hated the location. Like, the venue, food and drink closed at like 3 in the afternoon. So that was all really awful. But I think I liked Toronto the most. I love the drive to Toronto was great. Your story around Toronto is A+ phenomenal. Stopping and seeing Niagara was really nice. Like absolutely gorgeous. I was so happy to see that in person. And then that Saturday night dinner, I think was my favorite dinner of all the dinners we had this year. That food at that chicken place that we didn't even want to actually go to start.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I think it was my favorite meal of the entire 2024.
Yeah, I mean, Pave's balls were so good. I've talked about it so many times.
Yes.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. Because when you were like, "Oh, that dinner," I was thinking you were talking about the place where we got the quail.
No.
Which was a nightmare.
No. Where we got the chicken place. I don't remember the name of it.
No, it was the Korean fried chicken. KFC.
Yeah. It was not.
Korean fried chicken. But yeah, no, that was fantastic. And it was right next to where we were actually trying to go. But
yeah, we were trying to. What were we trying to eat? I can't even. Ramen. That's right. We were trying to eat ramen.
I hate ramen.
The ramen house.
People could comment about that. I hate ramen.
All right,
I'm a pho man. Pho and hot pot.
I'm just gonna mute you right now. No, I remember because we were suggested by Marcus and Silverman.
Yeah, that's all they ever want to go. They take me anytime I go back to Philly. They take me to the ramen place, or they take me to the freaking Cheesecake Factory. All right, if those are your two options, you can't trust these men.
The Cheesecake Factory is bad. Like that's for sure. Like straight up thumbs down for Cheesecake Factory. I need to get to a ramen place with them though. What ramen place is this in Cherry Hill?
I can't remember the name of it. It's right next to where me and Liz went to our first date. It's in I think it's in Sawmill Village. I think that's the name of the development, but yeah. Gotcha. But it's never been good.
I think I know the answer to this. What was your least favorite traveling event this year? I have the answer for you for sure.
Yeah, but you don't think I enjoyed getting a shot in the butt? All right. 36 years old. Never in my life have I taken a shot in the butt. But no, I couldn't, of course. And what did I get for it? Nothing. Like top 16 of a side event. Woo. And then it's funny because Sunday I was saying to you guys like, God, this trip was terrible. I think I like broke even, right, on like how much money I made versus what I'm spending. And Scott was like, "Nah, man, you're up like $300, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Well, anything could erase that." Yeah, how about COVID? And then having to get a hotel for 3 nights at $100 a night. I think I was right. Yeah. I willed that into existence. Yeah, that trip was terrible.
You did decide to drive to Vegas. That's all I'm saying.
Well, guess what? I had to bring my kids, and you've met them. They're the worst. All right. Whoever's raising them is doing a terrible job. That's all I know.
All right, Liz, I see you.
But I did have fun taking everyone to the casinos. Aside from that chicken game that destroyed us, everyone else I took
waste money.
No, everyone else I took to the casino made a lot of money, and then the chicken game just destroyed all of our wills to continue.
You got.
Yeah,
the chicken egg did not pop. That was fun. Yeah, Vegas was fun for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. All of them were good. I didn't really want to go to Seattle, so I was kind of like meh on it, but it was mostly good. I mean, you said something earlier, like your favorite one to play in. My favorite one to play in was none. I hate it. I hate playing. It's the worst thing ever. You know, when I met some of the people at Ravensburger doing the pack rushes, I'm like, hey, you know, if you guys can just put up like a banner that says Gunsling with Mr. Burns from TFM, I'd fly here, and you don't even need to give me a bathroom break. All right. I'll do it from open to close all day, every day. Because meeting people has been like the only reason I've been going to these things, which is great, which is funny because I just had a conversation with someone today. They were like, yeah, I was intimidated to come up and talk to you guys. I'm like, listen, man, I'm not there to play. All right. Spoiler alert, I'm not as good as I used to be. All right. So I'm there just to meet people. So please come up and say hi.
That's fair. Speaking of that, so we have I ran into Dan at DLC Vegas, a few tights. He seemed pretty tight and focused, but I appreciate him confirming that 522 wouldn't get me to let it go. Yeah, it's true. I'm glad you had a nice dinner at least. That's good.
Yeah, Dan's always on edge at the events. Don't meet him. Come meet Dick.
No, that's not true.
You and Nunez.
I will say for sure Seattle. I was like I think Seattle was like the only one that I was truly antisocial at. I would say most of the time I'm chill. I'm walking around, but Seattle I was putting a lot of pressure on myself, so I was pretty quiet in Seattle for sure. But I don't know.
Yeah, typically if we're in the room, we want to talk.
Yeah,
when we're having a downtime, like in Chicago, I walked like 4 blocks away.
Yeah. Yeah, actually that's my least favorite for sure. Chicago I made a bad choice. I took bad information and you
didn't listen to me.
And I'm pretty confident it's not. That's sad. It wasn't even my worst because I dropped in Toronto. I could have done better in Toronto if I just played another round, but I didn't feel like it. I was out, so I didn't care. But yeah, Chicago is without a doubt my least favorite event of the year, and that was another event. That venue sucked too.
There's nothing close by.
Nothing around.
It was crazy. The hotel was really nice, but
yeah, the hotel was fine, but it was like not fine enough for 1,000 people to eat every night.
Yeah. I mean, we had a Michelin star dinner, so
yeah,
I think it was 2 Michelin stars actually.
I forget. Well, the one night we went to that like Chipotle place. Like it wasn't Chipotle, but it was Chipotle, right? Like
yeah.
Was that? Did we do Fogo there? Or what did we do there?
No, we went to Texas A Brazil in Texas, which was terrible.
Yeah,
but no, actually, one day you guys all abandoned me and George. I don't know where you all went. You were like, I'm going to get shoes.
I did. I went to the mall.
Yeah, and then George was like, oh, bunch of scrubs. What do you need shoes for? You can win a golden Mickey. George was like, well, I'm staying.
Like literally a hole in my foot.
Yeah, George stayed to play test, so I stayed to play test with George, and then you all ate, and then I ate the next day. It was okay.
Yeah. I think it's funny though, because sometimes after the events are over.
Wait,
after the events are over, Dick. Right?
Oh, no, I enjoy myself when I'm not playing.
Yeah.
When I'm just like walking around the venue and people are like, "Oh my God, it's Dick Burns," and I go, "Where?" That's fun. But oh man, yeah. Speaking of dinners, semi funny story. Maggiano's, right? Am I right? Maggiano's for
Couple weeks ago?
PAX.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not eating for 3 days.
Oh yeah.
The game plan. Melissa ate bread. Come on. Get out of here.
Nunez
I
ate
was
bread too.
screaming. Yeah, I was yelling at them. It's like your opponent sets a trap card and you're gonna summon a monster. No, come on. What did you think the bread was? That bread was trap hole. All right. Yeah, and then you got us those terrible cheesesteaks. Oh my god!
Wow, you're such a hater. God, such a hater, all of you. You guys have been conditioned to eating bad cheesesteaks your whole life.
I grew up in Philly too.
South, you're Southern born and raised. What is that? Lies.
That's only one of my personalities. Also, we're childhood best friends. You're born right next to me. What are you talking about?
Yeah. No, Mates is good. Going again next month. You're not going to be here. Sorry.
What? What's messed up?
We're going for Braden's birthday.
And I didn't get an invite.
Braden
Shock.
And Celeste have birthdays back-to-back days. We're going to Maggiano's for their birthdays.
Hey, remember that time I lent Braden my car? So, we get to CCS in the morning. There's so many people there. They have their flea market going on. All of us nerds are there. I have to park like all the way in the back, whatever. I lend Braden the car. The parking lot's empty. All the scrubs like me are gone already. All right. He drives over to Panda Express. He comes back, parks it all the way in the back of the lot again. And then puts the parking brake on. No hill. We're not on a hill. All right. I come out. I'm carrying all the stuff I bought. I'm going to get everyone else food. Right. I'm like, where's the car? Is that a car for ants? So, I'm not a walker. All right. Look at me. I walk to the car. I get in, put in drive. Oh, it's not driving. Everything made sense when we talked to him afterwards, but I'm like, Jesus. I make one shirt with his name on it. Look what happens.
Dick literally comes back. He goes, I think Braden's trolling me. Turns out he drives a stick, and he thought he didn't want him to get hit by a car. Like that was,
It's so funny because people constantly come up to me. They see my shirt, like, "Hey, man, Braden. I don't think Braden likes you." Like, everyone knows that. We don't have to whisper. And then he was proving it.
Yeah, that's funny. CCS was a pretty good time.
Yeah, I bought so much stuff. It was great. I bought like 1,000 toy cars.
That's a lot of toys.
The weirdest. Oh god, it was so much. It was ridiculous. Totes and totes, multiple trips.
Jeez.
Yeah, I paid someone $5 to be in the Lorcana villain video. The girl dressed as Elphaba.
Oh, you tipped her. You didn't pay her. There's a difference.
Yeah, well, I don't believe in working for free. So I had to give her something.
That's fair.
It's
well, you tried to buy stuff. It just didn't work out.
No, it didn't work out at all. Not for me. But yeah. But, no, it was fun. Again, I'd have more fun if I just showed up.
Yeah. We should just carry a crocodile board around. It would be way more fun.
That's true. By the way, I played that with the family.
Yeah.
I got to play exactly 3 games. I played them all once, 100-0, and they never didn't want to play again. They were miserable.
I won't lie. So, fun fact about today was I spent like all of 5 minutes seeing if I could find a digital version of Crocodile to play on stream tonight. I failed.
Yeah.
It wasn't any on Steam. I was very upset. And then I Googled it real quickly. Nothing came up. And I'm like, all right, I didn't try very hard. Maybe it exists. I'm not sure. But,
James had a good time as well in Atlanta, which I was happy about. It's always weird when you mix your friend groups. Like Dan hanging out with Southern Dan. It's kind of like a glitch in the Matrix, you know?
I don't think he appreciates being called Southern Dan, just saying.
Well, it's not like he's going to watch this video because friends don't support people.
That's fair. It's very true also.
But yeah, he said he was glad that we didn't leave early Sunday.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, we ended up staying a whole extra day.
Yeah. Just sat up, made fun of Melissa. Yeah. The norm.
The norm. The norm as you were. So before we get into the bread and butter, I wanted to touch on this article series that we started on Metafy today. And when for anyone that wants to read this, it's all on free on Metafy. So all you have to do is go to our Metafy. And Dick wrote an awesome series for the top 20 cards he thought would be successful, but weren't. So we're going to talk about the first couple here, Dick. So
Okay.
in the article, you addressed Ransack.
Yes.
And while explain to the audience real quick why Ransack was our honorable mention on the list.
Well, it was honorable mention because I didn't have a specific Lorcana reason why I thought it would be successful. Just from my background in trading card games, I thought it would be successful because A, it's inkable. Worst case scenario, you just ink it. B, cards like this in Magic are ban worthy in many formats. And when I looked at certain cards before I even knew the rules of the game, I'm just like, oh, here's this archetype, here's this archetype. There's only so many archetypes card games can have. I'm not saying that they're copying Magic or anything like that. But typically when you see something like a Whole New World, you expect that you're gonna, since you're kind of going even on cards, you expect that at some point you could like use your discard pile as a resource. That way you build your deck around it. Your opponent necessarily or not necessarily knows you're playing a Whole New World, so they don't build their deck around it. And then you can use your discard pile as though it was your hand, you know? So this was in set 1. This was when I, had nothing to go by except 204 cards and 20 years of my life wasted in card games, right? So I thought, there would be some broken combo that it wouldn't even matter how many, you go -1 card here and you lose an entire turn of tempo. Yeah. But I thought at some point the developers are going to mess up somewhere and there's going to be something so broken, it doesn't matter how many cards are in your hand if your opponent has lost the game, Yeah. So I bought about 50 of these in foil. 10 cents each. They've gone nowhere.
All right.
Yeah, I think I have sold them off for 10 cents each. Just because I was tired of seeing them and thinking of my failures.
So this one, although has seen a pretty light amount of success, I was kind of in agreement with you in a big way for Chernobog, because when you read this card, you're like, yeah, man, it's a 9/9 that I can probably play for 4, which sounds awesome, but it's not. It's not awesome.
And again, I actually thought this was perfect with a Whole New World.
Yeah.
Like, there gets to be some times, Ben did it, where you could mill yourself. Yeah. And with a Whole New World being such an amazing card, I thought at some point we're going to get in some kind of format where like half the people you play against are playing as wheel decks. And this would be the trump card. But instead, it's just been nothingness. I mean, unfortunately, you play this on turn 5, whatever. Your opponent just plays a Maui and then runs in whatever random 3/3 they had in play.
Yeah.
And you dedicated so many resources to get this thing in play. Unless you just happen to flip it off of Mufasa.
Yeah.
Which is like basically the only time we even see this thing played. The first week that it came out, I was playing Pride Lands Chernobog Whole New World combo deck. And it did great at League, but that's League.
Yeah.
But
Fair.
yeah, like in any other game that uses resources like ink, this would have been phenomenal in my opinion.
Agree. I think you came a little hard at some of the set 6 cards here.
Well, I think that's because they still have time.
Yeah.
That's also like one of the reasons it was towards the top of the list.
Yeah.
They still have time, and like I feel like if this was printed any time earlier on, it's just like an automatic include.
It's possible.
Like people were playing like the 2/3 Daisy for 4 just because you can muse it back to your hand.
Yeah.
Like this is significantly better than that.
I agree.
It's one of the only discard cards in the game that you can draw it late and it could still win the game.
Right.
If you draw a sudden chill or you have forgotten me at some point, it's just useless.
Right. This is still too low for 2.
Yeah, but it's just getting harder and harder, especially if you consider this a 4-drop most of the time. It's getting harder and harder to fit things into your deck. I think people, like I think Frank Carson was probably the first one to really highlight how important your mana curve is. And I think people were just for a long time playing the best possible cards, not even considering that. And I think now people are seeing the ramifications of like, oh, I drew 3 4-drops. Now I'm playing a 4-drop on 4, 5, and 6. And my opponent's playing a 4-drop, a 5-drop, and a 6-drop. And theirs are just way better than mine.
Fair. I'm a big fan of Moana.
Yeah,
I know she hasn't come through yet, but
it's way above rate.
All right, I got to quote Nunes stats, bro.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was saying. It's way above rate, which at some point people might read an article about that. But it's way above rate. The problem is the only Ruby decks that are being played are Ruby Amethyst, and you're just not going to outclass the Amethyst 1-drops, or Ruby Sapphire, which you don't need to be questing on turn 2. If there is a Ruby deck that wants to actually end the game before like turn 10, this will see play, right? Like it just has to. Bro. Oh yeah. Not only does he love it, he hates to see it from the other side.
Very, very true.
And like it can just quest, and your opponent most likely has to trade 2 costs into it.
It's very true. So yeah, that was part 1. Oh, I got glitchy there. No.
I hope you were laughing at all the little things I wrote as well. I was writing that thinking, oh, this is like a Watch Mojo article of just like I'm appealing to like the lowest common denominator, so it hits everyone. Like on the Moana, I made a not a princess joke.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
hopefully people appreciate that. I spent way too much time on that. I'm like, oh, I'll just write. Yeah, I told the wife, yeah, I'll be in bed in like 30 minutes. We're just gonna write this quick article. 3 hours later. Didn't like, happen. Did you just get in bed? No, I just rolled over. I was in bed 30 minutes after I told you.
That's fair. If you're hanging out, this article is, I think, 4 parts. Mostly because the word count that's allowed on Metafy. But I'd love to hear some of your comments in the chat here. Some cards that you think or you thought were going to be good. I think you hit mostly everyone that I definitely would have said. I have to like really go in through and look at them again, but I know for sure the one card that's in the list, I can't remember where it lands, is the Amethyst the Steel John Silver. Man, I am such a huge supporter of that card where I'm like, man, this card's going to be so good. And then it sucks. And like even now, like, it shows up in the location decks. I played against it this weekend in 2 different decks. There was an Amethyst Steel location deck and a Amber Steel location deck, and Yeah. Oh, Mufasa's a good one. That's a good one. I assume the Sapphire Mufasa is that's my guess. Austin, if you want to confirm that for me. I think Sapphire
there
Mufasa
hasn't been a good Mufasa yet. So
well, Amber Mufasa has at least seen play, been in, more than one top cut deck somewhere.
I also don't think it was overhyped. Like, I remember when that was spoiled, people were like,
the Sapphire Mufasa?
No, the Amber one.
Oh, okay.
I remember when that was spoiled, people were like, you're gonna play all characters? Which, hey, it doesn't say that. Like, I remember trying that because at the end of set 1, Amber Ruby was probably close to one of the best decks, and people just didn't know it. So I was just throwing that in. I'm like, oh, now we have Teeth and Ambitions. Now it like even more things for Rapunzel to do, and it just, I don't know, just kind of wasn't good enough. But I threw Mufasa in there with like 30 characters. I mean, if you hit half the time, it's fine with me. Your opponent assumes you're always going to hit.
Yeah. I think I was confident at 44 characters. So like 16, or was that 16? Yeah. 16 non-hits. I think the odds are still very much in your favor. And like when you miss, you miss. I think the problem with the card is that it turned into, on average, if you miss, you're like dead. But the same can be said about 60 characters. Like if you hit a 1-drop, like it's useless,
Yeah, so, it's just a miss anyway.
Yeah, like if you hit a 1-drop, it's a miss anyway. So it's only good when you high roll. So you may as well play like really good cards to high roll.
Yeah, like one of the best creatures in Magic is Delver's Secrets.
Yeah.
And just by playing Magic, you automatically have at least 20 cards that don't trigger it.
Yep.
Just by the sheer game.
Yeah.
So I come from a place of, if I'm hitting half the time, great.
That's true.
Blackjack theory. 51% of the time, I'm going to be a millionaire.
Very true. Well, Dick, as we're starting to land the plane on this one.
Yeah, you should just not publish this and chop it up. Hey, no one watches podcasts on the main channel. That's why.
That's the point. That's why that's going to happen. Like
that's why I took over the second channel.
You're too far ahead.
It was a hostile takeover. People don't even know.
I've already planned this, bro. I already got this.
This is gonna get 900 views, and then it's gonna tank the next meta report.
No, it's gonna get unlisted from YouTube, and then split up into 2 videos. That's what's gonna happen.
Oh yeah, that's what I said. And then it goes on the second channel. So what I'm really getting at is, if people out there, if you want more dick in your life, go to the second channel.
It's true.
And obviously I'm talking about myself in the third person.
Yeah, it's true. The event videos have been fun though,
Yeah, I mean, people need to get on the second channel though, because guess what? They vote for things. We let them vote. We fell for Katie's trap, asking people what we should make a video about.
No, we didn't fall for Katie's trap because we did it on platform. So,
well, yeah, that's true. But way to make fun of Katie. Wow, she's having a hard day. I heard.
No, she's the best. That's it in the name, like somewhere right here. Yeah, like right there.
Oh
God. But yeah, so the second channel is definitely going to be a dump for all the random content that we want to do that doesn't actually work on this channel.
Yeah. Can't believe you would change that. Katie stinks? Really?
I forgot you had admin privileges. That's mean. That's mean.
Yeah, I don't know why you would ever assume I could be trusted with anything.
That's true. That's fine. I'm gonna have fun now.
How's anyone else still watching this?
There it is.
Let's say going to lose to Lorcana. True. I can't believe you remembered to capitalize Lorcana villain. You could tell when Melissa posts and when you post. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I am gonna lose to Lorcana villain. I fold under pressure.
It's true. I've seen you lose on stream a bunch.
Yeah, it's like in Magic, 100%. I'd win. I'd
Yeah,
win every time.
Fun fact about that game on stream is it's my first game on stream in Disney Lorcana, and I'm undefeated. So there's that. That's also true for Transformers. Never lost a game on stream for Transformers either. So there you go. 2 games in a row undefeated on stream. Boom. That's all I got.
I was just checking the comments.
Yeah. 2025 around the corner. We just released a whole video about events that you can play in January, and there's a ton of them before we get to set champs. Like before we even get to set champs.
Melissa was like, "Oh, we should wait because people might post them later." Hey, you expect people to like fly to your events when you're having like a 5K or something, and you're posting it like a week ahead of time?
Yeah,
like it's not our fault if they wait until a week before the event to post it.
Yeah.
Like Southside Gaming, right? They're doing a great thing of like doubling or quadrupling their prize support or something like that.
I think it was doubling.
And it's free now.
Yeah, I don't know if I read that correctly. That seems wrong, but
I don't know what kind of money laundering scheme is going on there, but take advantage while you can.
It's
not an accusation legally.
It's not a joke because like when I saw the post today that it went to a double, like they doubled the prizes, I literally went to Google and put in flights. And I was like, man, I had this been announced this way, I just would have went. I just would have went to Miami for like the last weekend of the year. Like,
well,
just
you drive to my house.
No,
I'll drive there.
No,
it's as close as Atlanta.
It's too late. It's too
for
late.
me.
It's too late now.
But you know, you would make the video.
It's too late now.
No, not you. I'm saying the stores. The stores would make the video if they put it out in time. And then I thought, well, there's gonna be nothing anyway because set champs. You don't want to compete with set champs. You're just never. You are, no matter what prize you have, you're just not really going to outcompete people being able to drive sub 30 minutes away to win anything.
Yeah.
That's just a fact of life.
Even if the scar is $50, like, you know.
Yeah, in a magical universe where it's worth more than 5.
The playmat I think that this might be the first time that the playmat is worth more than the card.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. No. We'll see. Nothing makes sense in Disney.
No.
Are y'all going to Australia? No. I've got a ticket.
I'm not doing it. I'm refunding my ticket. I'm not going.
Well, Liz told me.
I'm betting on Japan.
So me and Liz talked about this for like 3 hours. Liz is my wife, for people that don't know. Liz told me I have to go. She told me I have to go. And I am in the camp of, this doesn't make sense.
No, it's dumb.
To go.
It's honestly stupid. Straight up. It makes no sense.
But why?
Because it's way too expensive.
Well, if it was free.
If it was free, I would go, for what it's worth. But I actually, even then, even in a perfect world, I think the only way that you can do it is if you go early enough. Like, you'd have to get there on like Tuesday. Because if you fly out on Wednesday and you're not getting there till Friday, you're never going to play well anyway. You're going to be so jet lagged.
I wasn't going to play well to begin with.
Effed. But I'm saying in general, I think it is one of the worst decisions ever to commit a day plus to traveling to like play in this 1,000 tournament. I think all these people, and I'm going to call you out here, all these people that think Australians aren't going to come to play, I hope you all go there and you get literally rocked. I hope you go 0-6, just like Nunez in Seattle, and get rocked. That's what I hope for, because it is ridiculous that you're going to bet on a 2-game format and $2,500 in travel. No chance.
Here's what I think.
The other truth is that this isn't going to be the only Australian DLC this year. Also a fact. I guarantee you there's at least one more Australian DLC this year.
We've only got like 5 more days in the year.
All right, next year.
So
2025. There will be 2 Australian DLCs in 2025 seriously, I would much rather just go to like 3 European ones than this. I 100% hope that there's like a DLC in Japan in May. and I'm like, hell yeah, I'm going.
Oh yeah, I would go to that too.
No,
When they posted whatever was going on in
Japan,
Japan,
I thought I was booking my trip to Japan. Yeah,
I would then definitely go to Australia. Just hop right on over to Australia.
No,
it's so much closer.
No,
because right now,
I mean, if you're just gonna be away from your house for like 6 weeks, more power to you, buddy.
Yeah, that was my old life.
Yeah.
You should know we're childhood friends.
Right.
I used to vacation in Florida
you have a
4
wife
months
and kids now, so
yeah, I used to vacation in Florida 4 months a year.
You're not gonna take your wife and kids to Australia. Like, that's not happening.
No, I would. Well, if we didn't just buy this house, I would take the wife, and the kids would stay with my parents, and they would be in heaven. They'd rather be at my parents down under.
Oh yeah, I get that. That's for sure.
But I think that if I am saying that I want to actually dedicate myself to Lorcana, I should go. And I think that so far I have not dedicated myself to the game.
I just strongly disagree. I think the EV is too low. I think that the EV is just flat out too low.
Yeah, but I don't care about that.
I mean, you have to care about that.
Here's the thing. It's not about the money. It's the respect that I'm wanting. All right? Honestly, I just want to be one of the greats.
Sure, but
it's a little dicky.
Like, you know, if I had won a gold Mickey last year, like, maybe you can convince me. Like, all right, whatever. Like, I'm free rolling, right?
I'm actually shocked a lot of people haven't been just like, yeah, I snapped that off. People.
I mean, like, literally, if I was already at golden Mickey status, I would 100% go. Wouldn't even be a thought. I'd be like, oh, whatever. I'm free rolling. I don't give a shit. But that's not true. So, like, if you're not free rolling, you're asking for a really big leap. And on top of that, I think the biggest problem is that you have to go so early. You can't show up on Thursday and be ready to play on Saturday. It's unrealistic.
Well, here's what I've laid out. Okay, flight to Hawaii.
Sure.
Be there for 1 day. Hop over.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Hop over to Australia. That's what I have laid out so far.
I don't even want to do that. I would need Hawaii for at least 2 days.
Yeah, it's just rough. Like
the other option is to go to Hong Kong.
Someone that I'm friends with in Australia, but not close enough to the DLC to stay with, said he goes to Qatar. I don't know why.
Qatar. That's interesting.
When he goes between America and there, he has dual citizenship.
Okay.
So, I don't know why exactly.
Yeah.
But if there's anyone out there that lives close to the DLC and they want Dick to stay at their house, let me know.
I'm definitely not some geographer, but when I read the Docklands, I'm like, I don't even know where the hell that is. I had no idea. All I knew was Sydney and Melbourne. I had no idea what Docklands was. So, yeah, I think that's the other big problem. Is like, I think if it was in Sydney, it would be significantly cheaper. I think because it's in Melbourne, it's so much more expensive to get there.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a frustrating thing. This could be a whole podcast of I feel like I am not giving enough. I'm not dedicated enough. That's what I feel.
Well, that's the case. You should be going to Atlanta or to Anaheim.
Yeah, well, yeah, we have a more personal reason for me not going there. That's Joel's tournament.
Yeah, but that could have been misrearranged the other way, so it's not like you had options.
But I think that's true. I think when I had decided that I wasn't going to Anaheim, I was on the fence of being a player at all and possibly just being a content creator.
Sure.
Yeah. I just had this conversation with some people. So right now I have like 6 buckets, right? I have Metafy. Mm-hmm. I have playing the game. Okay. I have my family. Mm-hmm. I have homeschooling. Mm-hmm. I have actually paying my bills. I do that sometimes. It's not often. People don't know. I am retired.
Yeah.
But I do have to make some amount of money to live, obviously, right? And then there's some other bucket. And the thing is, I'm running around dropping little bits into these buckets, right? And I'm never filling a single one. It's as if each of these buckets has a slow leak, and I'm keeping them full enough to not be empty. And I'm not succeeding in anything in life. I am slowly failing, in my opinion, at 6 different parts of my life. That's what it feels like.
Well, that really sounds more, man, we can go forever on this one, but it really sounds more like time management is your issue.
There's just not enough time.
That's not true. It just means you're managing your time poorly. You know what it starts with? It starts with not getting up at 11 a.m.
But I'm up working until 4 a.m.
That's a bad excuse.
But this is
the
time.
It is statistically proven that getting up earlier sets a better tone for the rest of the day.
Right, but when am I supposed to work?
In the morning, whatever.
That's when.
My average day is up at 6:30, kids ready for school, take kids to school, 7:30 to 1 is work time. Like, that's my day.
Yeah. When my kids went to school, infinitely easier.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Still an option. Just saying. Still an option.
No. You're crazy.
I'm not crazy.
People are going to flame you in the comments for that. Everyone praises me so much for the dedication to the kids.
Yeah, but you say you're failing at it. So how is it?
Yeah, that's by my standards.
I mean, all right.
Funny enough, one thing I covered in the one video about Joel's tournament is that Joel and Heather were mentoring me on being a first-time homeschooled parent. They have been very successful with it, right? AJ, very smart. Their 17-year-old daughter in college already. Yeah. The other 3 wives, kids, I think they're all in the military, actually, as Joel was. And I'm doing everything by the book, right? And I've never been that person. I am like so far and above on everything I do. Like, I don't start something if I don't think I could be the best at it. Sure. Or if I don't think I can aspire to be the best at it. Sure. And so, even James, he hangs out with the kids, and James tells me, like, dude, you're being too hard on yourself. Like, Tessa is right where Jace is or above. Yeah. And she's 1 grade lower. And that's, just because I have 1 student per class,
Sure.
So, Heather sent me all of these websites and everything, and it was everything that I already had, basically. And I was just like, okay, I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But if I wasn't doing other stuff, I know I would be doing it better and more.
Sure.
But then there's like, you don't want an iPad kid, people say. I don't know if I want a packet kid, where it's like, oh, I print out this packet, here you go. For an hour, you just go do this. But that's what everyone's doing. So when I say I'm failing, what I mean is I'm not living up to my expectations to myself.
That's fair.
One could say I'm not failing at Lorcana or being a content creator.
I could make arguments for failing at all those things.
I'm a failure. You heard it here first.
Not just you. I'm just saying in general.
But there's other people that come up and they're just like, oh my God, it's like you guys and 2 other creators who are just like the mountain. And I'm like, well, we're the forbidden mountain. Medify, they reached out to us, and I think I've been pumping out a lot for that, right? And it still doesn't feel like enough. I'm like, man, you know what? I could have done, I don't know, 1 more this week, something like that. I think it's never enough. I want to be the best.
I think for me, in just breaking down 2024, time management is just that. It's literally figuring out what is best to spend time on and then how to do that in the correct period of time. I think there's a lot of that. Like me and Scott just had our end of the year review, and one of the conversation points was about CCS and like the purpose of CCS in the end was probably the first event all year that was legitimately about being a player. And I think that I could make an argument that the rest of the events this year were less about being a player in Disney Lorcana to the degree that I've held myself to in other games. But that CCS was the epitome of that. It was the epitome of, if I'm going to go to LCQs, I need to go to this tournament. Like I have to play in as many big events as possible leading up to LCQ if I'm going to give myself the best chance to succeed at LCQ. So like that was the first time all year that I can say that, where like every other event was like, yeah, it was there, you know, the hope is to do good, but it was never like, oh my God, I'm going to like be upset with myself if I fail. Even though I was, you know, that's because I'm just competitive and that's just by nature. But the argument was going to a CCS with the events being so top heavy, it's very difficult to break even on those events. You know, like you go to a DLC and like by default, you're winning. Any player of our caliber at the very minimum is going to win a Rapunzel, right? So we're going to win one Rapunzel minimum. With side events, on average, we're able to win 4 or 5 Rapunzels on average. So if a Rapunzel remains as a $100 bill, you're basically saying every event I go to, I'm going to at least win $500 worth of prizes. The CCS, you know, you could finish in top 16 and like win your entry fee back, and then you're just like dead. So like that, you know, that is, we talked about this a little bit before, but like that's like you should probably change that. Like top 16 should probably make more than their entry fee back in a 200 plus tournament, like player tournament. That's just a duh if you ask me. But that's the argument to me, is that, you know, you're going to that event and it's really just for playing the game. Like it's all it is. It's just like I'm playing the game with some of the best players in this area, and I'm putting myself in a position to get live reps against good players. But when you look at it an EV standpoint, it's a pretty net negative event. Like flying to CCS for a couple $100 is probably a bad move, like in terms of EV. So it's like, yeah, I went there because I put myself in a position to say we need to attribute to being players more often than content creators. Like that just has something that has to happen. Like it can't just be all theory and analytics. Like it has to be like live reps and proof of saying like, okay, I can compete with these guys. And that's what CCS was about. And I think that in 2025, there's a good chance that I'll do more of that. I just won't bet $2,500 on Australia because I think it's stupid.
Yeah, I think that some of the Star City games we were more players, because I would come to your house and play test.
Yeah, I mean, it's all there was.
Those, yeah, but what I mean, but that also shows how it shows how rewarding it could be, because we weren't as in touch for most of the other events. I would say outside of Toronto, not Toronto, Dallas.
I think Toronto, we were, well, you might not have been in sync. I was in sync. I mean, I played the same deck that finished second place overall, so I was in sync. I think those 3 months, I think Dallas, Toronto, and Vegas, we were very in tune. I think Atlanta, I would argue that we got lucky more than anything. We literally made the deck like the day before we got to the tournament, so like it just happened to be good.
I wasn't even there.
Yeah, you weren't even there. I literally sent it to you at 10:30 at night.
It was midnight, but okay.
It was not midnight. I was asleep at midnight.
Any longtime viewers know.
Yeah. But it is one of those things that in 2025 there is an argument to be made about, you know, if you want to battle on EV, then you can battle on EV. If you want to just battle on like becoming a better player, I think there is definitely ways to do that. And you know, you gotta sometimes you do have to risk it for the biscuit. But even in terms of one trip to Australia is basically saying like I could go to all 4 CCSs next year instead. You know, that's a fair argument to make, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I listen, this is going to rub people the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't care about money.
No,
I think money is so easy to come by for
it is in some ways.
Me in particular. I'm not going to say for everyone. I can't speak for everyone. But, you know, like, okay, I bought like 1,000 little cars at CCS, right? I think that might pay. That could pay for the whole trip to Australia. Yeah. It's just
don't get wrong. Our PAX Unplugged expenses alone can pay for Australia.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know.
I don't have any of the stuff left from PAX Unplugged.
I just have a weird way of thinking about things, money, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think in the end, I think in the end, Australia is time and money, and time you can't get back. And I think that's the real truth. Like the money is, I agree with you. In the end, the money is the money. Like you can make the money. Like if you wanted to go, you could go. But the time is a hell of a commitment.
Like people made fun of me. Six Flags was doing some promotion. Who could live in a coffin for 24 hours? There was no prizes. There was nothing. I signed up for it. They didn't pick me.
I can't believe it couldn't even be like a free season pass to Six Flags or something like
I know.
That, you know?
Yeah, they were gonna like record it. I think for a radio station. Like I don't even think you got shown anywhere.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and my friends at the time, like I posted on Facebook about it. Because they were looking. If there was a group of 2, they're more likely to pick you. Like, anyone want to do this? Everyone was like, "You're a moron." And I'm like, "No, I just like doing things like that are weird."
Yeah.
So just randomly flying to Australia, that's totally a thing I would do.
That's very fair.
Yeah, ask my mom. Like one day she texts me, she's like, "Oh, you coming over today?" I'm like, "Nah, I decided to go to Puerto Rico at 5 a.m."
If there was a DLC in Puerto Rico, that'd be awesome.
Well, yeah, but yeah, I was just like, my friends were going. They were like, "Hey, do you want to go?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I went.
Let's do it.
Liz keeps bags packed.
Yeah.
At all times, because too many times have I been like, "Yeah, get in the car. We're just gonna go to Disney World. Get in the car. We're gonna go to California." Yeah. I was listening to Sweater Weather, right? Okay. And they mentioned putting your feet in the sand in California. And I said to Liz, "I want to do that. I've never done that." So we did it. Yeah. Yeah. It's just the weird life I live. Anyway.
What's that, like 3,500 miles? Something like that?
Yeah, whatever. I had a V8 Yukon XL.
Meanwhile, I'm sitting here shopping for Teslas today.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Well, it was fun. I'm hoping that I can make this a permanent time slot for us on Thursday nights. So you can see Dick and Dan on Thursday nights, hopefully. We're going to try and lock it in. Next week is possible. The week after that, I'll be in Anaheim.
I'm always free.
Always free until you're not free.
Have I ever turned down making content?
Yeah, once or twice.
No. You're lying. You're lying. No, I'll tell you exactly what I turned down.
I'm not lying.
I'll tell you exactly what I turned down. I won't even call it content. This guy wanted to wake up at 3 a.m.
That's true.
To voice over the awful Lorcana villain.
Yeah.
For the EU thing. I go to bed at like 2:30.
Again, like, if you just went to bed at 9 that night, we'd have been fine.
No, you're funny.
We could have went to bed at 9. We could have got up at 3, and we could have streamed for 8 hours. Could have happened.
Oh gosh. Oh, someone asked if I'm out of my funk. Never. I have no drive to play. I have no drive to play at all. I just like going and hanging out.
It's true. He was in it though for the good portion of day 1 of CCS. Day 2, he checked out. He didn't care.
No, if you're gonna be the first person ever on the team to lose to Logan, I mean, might as well go home. Yeah.
I mean, he has like a weekly chance to beat Ben and Melissa. And like the first time he plays you in Atlanta, he just beats you. I'm just saying, man.
Crushed me. Crushed me. We had great games. The first game, I think he drew 4 Hiram. The second game, I drew 4 friends.
Okay, yeah.
And then the third game, he drew more Hirams than I drew friends.
Yeah.
And that was the end of that. But it was a good time. I love hanging out with him. So yeah, I was happy to play.
Logan's good peeps. All right,
anyway,
sir.
All right.
Let's wrap this one up. Thank you guys so much for watching today. A lot of fun. Final end of the stream, end of the year 2024. But maybe you'll catch us very early on 2025. Thanks for hanging out tonight, guys. And I'll see you later.
Thanks.